Story 1. Am I the a-hole for refusing to babysit my cousin and calling him a lying brat, even though it lets my aunt work extra and helps her family? My 15 years old Aunt Cassandra, 48 years old, has a son named Tristan, 12 years old, who is a nightmare to be around. Mom started asking me to babysit him so Aunt Cassandra could pick up some extra work. Tristan lies to Aunt Cassandra about me because he knows that she'll buy him a present to make it up to him. I was babysitting him on Friday, and he had a screaming fit because I refused to give him his phone until he did his homework. Cassandra's instructions. Because he lied that I had friends over and destroyed the house the last time, I recorded everything to prove my innocence. I showed it to Aunt Cassandra, and she still blamed me, saying Tristan doesn't like being recorded, and that's the only reason he was acting out. I have told Mom numerous times that I don't want to babysit Tristan because he lies and I get punished for it. Mom has basically just made excuses that kids his age are like that and I babysit other kids, so this shouldn't be a problem. I showed my mom the video and explained everything that happened on Friday. But she's still saying that Aunt Cassandra needs the help because the money from working extra is a huge help, and I can do this for my family because she needs a dependable babysitter. We just got into an argument because she asked me to babysit Tristan again this Friday, and I told her no because this kid is a lying little brat. I added that maybe refusing to discipline him is the real reason Cassandra can't keep a babysitter on board, and she should try babysitting him to see what it's like. I'm currently grounded, but this has been going on since summer and my patience is out. Am I the a-hole for finally having enough and refusing to babysit Tristan, even though the extra money Aunt Cassandra brings in really helps her family? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. Better to be grounded than to babysit a lying little brat. Your aunt and your mom are wrong to disregard your concerns, and they're even more wrong to enable his manipulative behaviors. They are doing him no favors. Not the a-hole. What the heck are you doing babysitting someone 3 years younger than you? I was taking care of multiple kids under 5 when I was 12. He can look after his damn self. Kids his age are like that? No, the hell they aren't. I wouldn't put up with lying and violent tantrums from kindergartners, let alone from someone who is actually old enough to stand trial for crimes, at least here in Canada. Stay grounded, just don't go back to that house. Do you have a school counselor you can talk to? The adults in your life are being completely unreasonable, and I think you need another adult to get involved. Seriously, by 12 I was allowed to stay home alone while my parents worked. All I did were my chores, then sat my happy butt down in front of the desktop for some Sims go. Has so much changed in the last 9 years? I cannot grasp the kids his age are like that either, like? I'd stay happily grounded, and when asked why, I'd explain it. If Mom wants to volunteer OP to do something, she should take a babysitting shift and see how she feels after my 10 years old cousin acts better than this, and he's at least got some reasons why he'd act out. He doesn't though. He's still my best little buddy, even though he's almost taller than me. No, it hasn't changed. This kid is just a lying little brat. No 12 years old should need babysitting. Not the a-hole. Time for your mom to step up and help her sister out. Being grounded is a great time to spend some alone time. Not dealing with an annoying, lying brat and ungrateful, neglectful parent. Bonus! Mom wants to help your aunt, but only if you are doing the labor. If possible and old enough where you are, get a part-time job or babysit for other people. Does your aunt pay you? Don't fall for the bullcrap of family. Set your boundaries and make them clear. Not the a-hole. Cassandra isn't grateful. Your mother is putting Cassandra, her sister, before her own daughter, which is inappropriate. You babysit. You get chastised. Don't babysit. Not the a-hole. If you don't have authority, you aren't a babysitter. Tristan might as well be alone. So if Aunt doesn't give you authority, why are you wasting everyone's time being there? Not the a-hole. A 12-year-old shouldn't need a babysitter. The only ones that do are the ones that are obviously nightmares, like your cousin. Here is what's actually happening. Your aunt knows her son is a nightmare and therefore needs a babysitter. She knows she can't afford one, so she is using you because you're free labor. Your mom is aware of 1 and 2 and sympathizes with your aunt, so she is fine giving you up as free labor. Because they want you to keep babysitting. They are gaslighting you to try to convince you that you're the problem, not your cousin, so they don't have to deal with the consequences of accepting that there is a problem. To the extent that you can resist this arrangement, you should, but you're a 15-year-old living at home, so your options are limited. Do you have other adult relatives you could maybe appeal to? Could you negotiate so that your mom has to come along to babysit, or Tristan needs to be dropped off at your house while she's there? Even if you are forced to continue this situation, you should know in your heart that you're right. Not the a-hole. Some parents refuse to raise their kids to be well-behaved and then act shocked when nobody wants to deal with their golden turds. Story 2. Am I the a-hole for refusing to change my wedding date because my best friend is pregnant? I, 24 female, got engaged to my fiancé, Luke, 27 male, last year, and we're getting married in early September. We've been planning this wedding for over a year, and everything is set. The venue, the dress, the catering, you name it. My best friend, Sarah, 26 female, has been super involved in the planning process. She's my maid of honor, and I couldn't imagine the day without her. Here's the issue. Sarah recently found out she's pregnant and is due at the end of August. She told me last week and was really excited, but then she said, "So I guess we need to figure out a new wedding date." I was confused and asked what she meant. She explained that she probably wouldn't be able to make it to the wedding because she'll either be in the hospital or recovering with a newborn. I told her I understood, but we couldn't change the date because we've already paid deposits, sent out save the dates, and the like. Sarah got really upset and said something along the lines of, "But I'm your best friend. How can you have your wedding without me there?" I tried to explain that it's not personal. I love her, but there's no way to reschedule everything at this point without losing thousands of dollars. Sarah got even more upset, accusing me of prioritizing money over our friendship. She basically told me if the roles were reversed, she'd move mountains to make sure I could be there for her big day. I offered to find ways to include her in the ceremony even if she couldn't physically be there, like setting up a live stream or something like that, maybe even doing a special dinner after the baby is born. But she shut that down, saying it's not the same. She thinks it's selfish of me not to consider that this is a once-in-a-lifetime moment for her too, becoming a mom for the first time and being part of her best friend's wedding. To make things more awkward, Sarah has been rallying some of our mutual friends, who now think I'm the villain for not budging. They've said things like, "It's just a wedding, but a baby is forever," or "This is a sign you care more about the event than the people in your life." One even suggested I have a smaller, symbolic ceremony later in the year so Sarah could attend, which feels ridiculous considering how much we've already invested. Meanwhile, my mom and fiancé are firmly on my side. My mom even said it's entitled of Sarah to expect me to rearrange everything for her, especially since she didn't consult me before planning to have a baby. Not that she needs my permission, obviously. Luke is supportive, but thinks I should let Sarah cool off and focus on enjoying the wedding with the people who can be there. I feel torn. I don't want to hurt Sarah, but I also feel like this is my wedding, and it's not fair to expect me to rearrange everything for something that was completely out of my control. Am I really being selfish for refusing to change the date? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole, you're not being selfish at all, but she most certainly is. Your wedding is your and your fiancé's day, not hers. As for expecting you to lose thousands just for her, I'd be reevaluating the friendship TBH, especially if she's crap stirring amongst other friends. That doesn't sound much like someone who wants you to be happy and can't be center of attention. And while it's horrible to say, if she's newly pregnant, there's a chance of miscarriage early on, so you could do this and she ends up not having a baby. I hope it doesn't happen, but would she repay you the money you'd lose? If the answer's no, then you can see how much she prioritizes her money over the friendship. Complain about how selfish she was to get pregnant when you had your wedding scheduled. If money is coming between them, she can reimburse all the money for the rescheduled wedding. No? Then wedding proceeds? Not the a-hole. She is ridiculous. I love this. How dare she get pregnant now? That was super inconsiderate of her. Obviously sarcasm. Life happens. Things overlap. She needs to get over it. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. But I'm your best friend. How can you have your wedding without me there? Yeah. I'm your best friend. How could you raw dog it 9 months before you knew you had my wedding to go to? I really, really want OP to say this. This was my first thought. You've known forever when my wedding was taking place. You had to pick now to get pregnant, not the a-hole offer for her to pay the costs associated with a new date. The lost deposits and possible vendors, the additional cost for another weekend, the new save the dates, the awkward phone calls. If it's so important she physically be there, she can move those mountains she thinks are no big deal. Edit not the a-hole. Story 3. Am I the a-hole for snapping at my friend for touching my curly hair while it was drying and ruining it? I'm 23, female. My friend is the same age as me. For my entire life, I have had very, very curly hair. I'm white, but I have 3C curls. Anyways, super curly. My friend has kind of wavy hair, but not super wavy, and definitely nowhere near my curls. She has this habit of being super touchy with me in general, but especially with my hair. It drives me insane. Anyone with curly hair knows how delicate they are and how temperamental they can be. Also, how difficult it is to fix your hair once it has been ruined. I think I'm a bit emotionally traumatized from growing up with curly hair because I was constantly laughed at, judged, and touched because of my hair. And it really is a sensitive subject for me. I love my hair now and I take good care of it and it looks great, but I just can't handle it when people touch it without asking. They don't understand that they just ruined my hard work and I'll have to wet my hair again to fix the damage they have caused. Anyways, this weekend I was getting ready and my friend was over at my place. I had showered and was letting my hair air dry. It was in that in-between stage of wet and dry where it looks really weird and flat. Curly-haired people know. But I wait until it's fully dry to fluff it out and make it look good. My friend came up behind me and scrunched my hair while running her fingers through it. I almost cried. I legit snapped at her and was like, "What the heck? You just totally ruined my hair." I was definitely rude. I don't care though. She has no idea what it's like to have someone just completely ruin your hair that now can't really be fixed. I was honestly furious and not to be dramatic, but she really did ruin it. I had to fix the pieces that she had turned frizzy and stringy, and my hair just looked bad that day as a result. She told me I was crazy and need to chill out about my hair. I told her that it's really frustrating to do a whole wash day hair routine just for someone to rake their fingers through it, ultimately messing it up. She said she was sorry, but she's still frustrated that it made me so upset. I feel like it's just insane to touch people for no reason, and I'm so tired of people grabbing my hair too. I know I might sound obsessed about having perfect hair, but it's really not even that. My hair is just so curly and also so fine that it doesn't really take much at all to mess it up, so it's super upsetting to me when someone is rough with it on purpose and knows how I am about my hair. So, am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. How the heck does someone go this long in life and not realize how hecking disrespectful it is to be touching people's hair? Most people have this figured out in grade school. Embarrassing, this girl loves to touch. She grabs my chest whenever I'm wearing a sexy top. She touches my boyfriend's hair, also curly. I always tell him that he needs to tell her off if it bothers him, but he's too afraid to be rude. I, on the other hand, am not. This person is harassing you and needs to be your ex-friend. You have been so patient to put up with this as long as you have, but if she tried any of that crap with me, I would probably be arrested. Someday she's going to touch the wrong person and be in for a rude awakening. It's like putting me in a pissed-off mood right now even thinking about it. She is odd. She is weirdly obsessed with me and my boyfriend. Oh God, I can't even handle the way she acts around him. She calls him a name that I just can't even bring myself to type, Daddy. She hugs him. She photobombs every single photo we try to take together. Typing this out is making me realize how abnormal this is. Yikes. It is abnormal. My BF also sucks right now if you see my post history, so I'm kind of just at a loss. What the actual heck? Why are you still friends with this person? She's deliberately groping you and touching you in ways you hate when you've repeatedly told her no. If you want to keep her as a friend, you need to make it really clear that this is not a joke. You seriously need her to stop touching you without permission. And then ditch her when she does it because it doesn't sound like she'll stop. You need therapy. You have at least one bad friend and a self-described toxic relationship. You need to work on yourself so you can develop better friendships and relationships with new people. I know. I need help bad. I'm in therapy, not the a-hole. She's still frustrated that it made me so upset. This isn't a thing she gets to complain about. She's upset that she made you upset. She wants a pass. Not the a-hole. I have curly hair, and my family knows to give the head a wide berth when it's drying. I have one shot for 3-4 days of decent hair. But beyond that, you're not the a-hole because you get to decide if you are touched or not. It doesn't matter why you don't want someone to touch you. They don't get to touch you if you say so. A wide berth, so real. My BF isn't even allowed to hug me while my hair dries. My 15 years old and I are the only ones in the family with curly hair. She's a 3C4A and I'm a 3B. She has the most gorgeous corkscrew curls I've ever seen. Shirley Temple level. People ask her all the time if her hair is real. Anyway, there are 6 kids total and youngest are 8 and 6. They've known since they were toddlers to ask, "Is your hair dry? Can I touch it?" If toddlers can learn, why can't an adult? First off, that's adorable and exactly. Adults should know. Story 4. Am I the a-hole for bringing my daughter to my own child-free wedding? So my husband, male 29, and I, female 27, just recently got married. We spent almost a year planning the perfect wedding, taking the right precautions, etc. One of our first rules that we decided was that it was a no-kid wedding. We wanted an environment where we wouldn't have to worry about children running around, getting into things, crying, etc. We made it very clear on our invitation that we didn't want anyone to bring children under 14. We did, however, decide that we wanted to bring our daughter, 11 months, and I wanted to hold her during the reception and photo taking, and then have a family friend drive her home and wait for the babysitter to get there before coming back. Before we settled on that friend, we asked a few people. One of the people we asked was my husband's close friend, Darren's, wife, Jessica, fake names. She declined because she didn't want to drive, which worked out fine as we were able to find someone else. So on the day of our wedding, after we told everyone several times about the no kids rule, she showed up with her 4-year-old. I was obviously taken aback, but I went to ask her about it. She told me that since I was bringing my kid, it was okay if she took hers. Honestly, I was furious. I tried to stay calm and tell her that this is a child-free wedding and she can't let her kid run around, but if she took her kid home, she was welcome to come back. She started yelling at me about how, since I had a kid, it wasn't fair that she couldn't have hers. Her son at this point was already climbing on things, as she just let him run free. I told her that this was her last chance or she'd need to leave. She rolled her eyes, sat down in a chair, and just watched her son run wild. Eventually, her husband Darren convinced her to get her kid and leave, but it ruined the whole first part of my wedding. It's been a few weeks now, and I've been thinking, maybe I am in the wrong? I said no kids at my wedding, but brought my own. A lot of people in my life are also saying it was hypocritical at the least, so am I the a-hole? Now for the comments, not the a-hole. Your wedding, your rules. And an unsupervised, unrelated 4-year-old is very different to the bride's 11-year-old daughter, 11-month. But also thank you. I'm just worried maybe I made it seem okay, if that makes sense. Ah, my bad. Still not the a-hole. You don't just show up to a wedding with your kid after the invite says no kids. I'm going to go with not the a-hole. You never ever assume your child is welcome to a wedding, especially a small child. Even if you know the happy couple is bringing a child of their own, it doesn't mean you can bring yours. Not to mention that your kid is 11 and hers is 4. Most 11-year-olds I know can be trusted to behave themselves for a while, whereas I know a lot of 4-year-olds that don't know what behave yourself means. That she doubled down and watched her kid run wild is a huge screw you. Appalling. Edit to add, I so misread. Ops child is 11 months, not 11 years. My point remains that you never assume your kid is welcome at a wedding. But oh, I had a good laugh at myself when I realized why OP wanted to hold their child in the pictures. Not the a-hole. Bride and groom always has the right of exception to any rule they make for their wedding, especially for their own child that is being included in the ceremony. Right. Does the guest also get to wear a long white gown because that's what the bride wore? Does the guest get to cut the first piece of cake? Does every guest walk down the aisle because that's what the bride and groom do? No, the guest does not get to do everything the bride and groom do. The bride and the guests are not equals at this party. That's ridiculous. Thank you for listening. If you like the video, consider like and subscribe. If you want more stories like these, turn on your notification to receive the latest stories.